Fuck those Mormons. Oh, God.
Mitch Albom is going to be on about half an hour or so. I just had a long chat with him for my Take a Knee podcast. Very interesting dude. My goodness. Man, you thought you knew Mitch Albom, but sold 40 million books and Tuesdays with Morrie obviously got him on the map. Very interesting story to that as well. I mean, we'll get into all that with him and how all that came about, plus his philanthropic stuff. Has an orphanage in Haiti. Man, it just keeps going.
He out-Oprah'd Oprah.
I know, plays in a band with Stephen King.
Oh, my God.
And
Judy Blume and J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, and like Dave Barry. Like they have a band of writers who, anyway. So we'll get into all that with Mitch. I think my dad may have outdone my mom in the lackadaisical parenting department.
Impossible.
I know it seems tough, and I'm going to throw it out to you guys. I feel a little too close,
right?
But you tell me. Now, my mom's currently at the top of the leaderboard.
Top.
It's opposite day.
It is a race to the bottom. So she's at the bottom of the leaderboard because of the 99 comment when she presented the question to the table, which is filled with relatives and the like, celebrating, I think, somebody's birthday, hers or grandma's. But anyway, she started famously, you guys know this story, where she'd gotten another flyer for cable. And she announced they keep wanting her to get cable.
They're haranguing her.
Yes, as so I'm fond of saying, if it starts with the word basic and it's too rich for your blood, it's gut check time as an adult. Like it's called basic cable.
Yeah.
And you're wrestling financially of whether you can squeeze the trigger at age, 67 and a half with something that starts with the word basic.
Yeah. Maybe about $6 a month.
And then has 99 cents.
Right.
Like when there's a cost to it.
That's how they get you.
It gets into the pennies.
Yep.
You shouldn't be wrestling with it.
I think Alaska Airlines is offering basic economy, which is below economy. And if you're thinking I don't know if I can afford that, take the bus.
Do you hold a subway strap?
I guess. I wouldn't know, Gina.
Oh, yeah.
So so her, they keep wanting me to get this cable. And then she, of course, presents, can anyone at the table give me one good reason to get cable? Of course, I had 2 shows on cable at the time. So that was the phrasing of it was interesting. I don't know if my dad beat her on when I visited with him.
We'll be the judge.
It's a low bar.
Over the weekend. But my dad, he doesn't really have his thumb on the pulse of what's going on in the world or me or creativity or books or docs or anything like that.
Is that what's trending?
No, but it and will ironically say things like, "Oh man, I got Dennis Prager's book. Have you ever talked to Dennis? Like, what's that like?" And I go, "Yes, I made a movie with Dennis Prager." And he goes, "Oh, all right." And then we get back to talking about Dennis's books, which is weird that he likes now this one half. But anyway, he's never gotten around to No Safe Spaces. But I think my stepmom, who's sort of normal, kind of keeps him in the loop. She gets on the computer, she looks up stuff and maybe gives him a couple of talking points for, when I come
Good
visiting.
producer.
She produces. And so he said, now, what is this thing? You're doing something. They always, again, I'm always interested in this, which is the people that will not, and maybe it's not give you the satisfaction or they just won't, but they won't commit to actual titles. My family's a lot of, is the puppet, what's your puppet?
The yanking,
is that still
the yankers?
That'd be way too,
they can't even get
way
that
too
far?
involved. Yeah.
Those crass puppets.
Are you doing the puppet on the comedy?
The Ha Network.
The comedy show network. What is that? What is that? What number is the comedy network or whatever? I'm like, I don't know. Do you have a basic
Check your
cable
local
or
listings.
the dish?
Yeah.
I don't know what you have. By the way, there's a show. It's called Friends. Right. It's on NBC, ABC, whatever. It's The Office. You know what I mean? The shows have titles.
Yeah.
And then,
easy to memorize.
And then they're on a network that has
Right.
a name
Right.
to it. Sometimes it's HBO and Cinemax or Showtime or ABC, but then you have that and then you have that. Those are really only two things you need to really commit to memory. But it's always the thing with which is always, I'm always curious, like, why are you advertising? You know what I mean? Like, pretend, like, you know. But so my dad said, what is, you doing something with your car friend? And I said, my car friend. And he said, yeah, your car, the car, doing something with the car person, car guy,
Love bug?
car something. And I said, well, first off, I know he doesn't know who Matt D'Andrea is because I've only known him for 13 years to do a podcast with him. But I said, you talking about Matt D'Andrea? We do car stuff? No, the car
if they're
friend.
talking about Leno, I'll lose my mind.
He's talking about Jay Leno.
Oh, my God.
Now, first off, look, he's older. His memory's fading. But why downgrade Jay Leno into the car guy friend of yours?
You
why not
surely
just
know him
say,
from other things.
Your car friend. One of the 100 most famous people in America.
Yeah.
And the guy was number one in late night for 23 years.
When you were lucid.
Give him the title he's earned. But so he gives the
car friend.
He's a car friend guy. I go, I'm out. I got Matt D'Andrea and I'm kind of out. And I go, Jay Leno? And he goes, yeah, that him. So I go, yeah, and I go,
you and Leno should have a show called Car Friends.
yeah, you could put it on the speed
the driving
speed dial network.
So I go, yeah, I did do a stand-up special with Jay Leno, and he goes, oh, okay, what's that? What's that like? How's that go? And I go, well, you know, I go out, I do about 15, 20 minutes of stand-up, then, you know, Jay comes on, and Jay does some stand-up, we do like an interview, and we play like a game, and then we pull out the balls from the hopper with the name, and we improvise, and my dad goes, I could see that.
No, that might work.
I thought... Well, also you could see it.
Yeah, you could literally see it.
You can see it. It's all in the phraseology, but you could see it.
I could see that.
I could see that.
That could maybe work.
That's good.
Good luck with that.
But now my mom has the give me one reason for cable, and my dad has I could see. He's trying to. It's like we're on an island, and I have a piece of charcoal, and I'm trying to draw him something. Or you could just watch it.
Yeah.
You could physically.
It's there.
It's just there. You could use the computer.
You don't have to leave the house.
You could watch it.
Yeah.
Now he's not going to watch it, but the point is I could see that. That's got Jay Leno in it.
Yeah.
Where's that rank compared to Give Me One Reason?
I have thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes down to something sort of that maybe you're not basing this on. But for me, it's all about how many other people are experiencing my humiliation. Mm-hmm. And like Dad being like kind of out of it, like it sucks. And I'm sure relatively hurtful. But if your mom announces to a table full of people that she can't think of.
Loved ones.
Yes. That know you, that she can't think of one reason to get cable. That's more shaming. That's more humiliating to me.
For me.
Yes.
But
by proxy.
You have to consider the audience. Those aren't your loved ones.
That's
and
true.
those aren't Brian's loved ones.
Nobody bristled.
Nobody thought of an answer. And I've been so poisoned over the years because I remember very clearly I, just sort of with my wiring, started offering up gardening shows. They have cooking shows, and the rest of the table kind of joined in. And there was not a peep of the Man Show or Loveline or anything like that. It was only after leaving the dinner and driving to Loveline that it dawned on me that so there wasn't the discomfort level that I wish was prevalent at that table, but it was non-existent.
Okay,
so
I'm back to zero.
We have to remove that.
The Jim Carolla incident recently is strong. There's something poetic about give me one reason when in fact you have two shows that simultaneously doing well. These aren't like, shows that are floundering. These are shows that are probably like signature shows on the network. Popular networks, big networks.
And if Rich Banks wants a challenge, he might have to incorporate Tracy Chapman on this one. Give me one reason.
All right. So we still
mom's still the leader.
The bottom of the leaderboard is still
She
Mom.
inches him out, even though the other one's pretty bad.
In a different family-related note, I walked down to the theater in my home on Friday night to see what Sonny was up to. He's fond of just watching movies, sometimes with friends, sometimes alone, but he really loves the movie.
Howard Hughes-esque.
Very much. I walked in there, knocked over a jar of urine. Sure. I walked in there. He was watching, and you got to look it up for me, Chris, because I don't remember all the official particulars, but he was watching. Now, I've gotten over the part where he's a 15-year-old boy. When I was his age, I would have just been watching Armageddon over and over again, or Con Air or something.
The great.
He turns his nose up at all of that. But he's watching, I think, from 1951.
Oh my.
Sunset Boulevard.
Oh,
there you go.
Sunset Boulevard.
Interesting. A great movie,
Billy
great
Wilder.
musical.
1950.
1950.
Things they look as if we've never said goodbye.
I didn't even know there was singing
That's
in
a Broadway musical, too.
Oh, there's no singing in this.
I know.
Okay, sorry, I didn't know if you knew that. I was mansplaining
I've seen this.
Sunset Boulevard.
I've seen this many times.
Norma Desmond.
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Now, I'd never seen it. And it's got William Holden in it, I think, and Gloria Swanson and all that. And it's a very creepy movie. It's very slow pace, very
slow burn,
very 50s, very slow. I may have been black and white. I can't recall.
Very much so.
It's got the classic lines. I'm ready for my close up,
Mr. DeMille.
Right. And it's got all those, but most people know those, but don't know the movie. He was just watched it right on through.
Wow.
Love it.
I was like, I watched for about 10 minutes. I was like, all right, well, you're on your own, but you'll be back upstairs in a matter of 20 minutes. You're going to burn out. And I came back down hour and 20 minutes later. He was just there, just watching it.
Good for him.
I was like, why are you watching? He said, I heard it was one of the classics. I want to watch all the classics.
Moulton over here.
Yeah, and it's also, I was... It's a blessing to have an attention span.
Yeah.
It's fast fading in
Yes.
most of the populace. They just there's nothing exploding. There's no car chases. Like I'm out. But it's such a gift to have that ability to just sit. When I was talking to Mitch Albom about Tuesdays with Morrie, he's like, I just sat and listened.
Yeah.
That's all I did. I visited Morrie. He had ALS, and I just sat and listened the whole time.
This movie starts with a dead body, and there's 90 minutes until something else happens again.
That's exactly right.
That's some concentration right
God,
there.
I can't wait to get his thoughts on whatever happened to Baby Jane.
He maybe seen it already, but he's watching it all.
I was similar to Sonny in that around the age of 15 or 16, 17, whatever it was, that's when I really fell in love with movies. And I was like, I need to see these classics, these ones that everyone knows and everyone references. I need to see the classics. I didn't see Sunset Boulevard, but I saw Apocalypse Now and on and on, on and on and on, movies that came out before my time. There is a danger to seeing them at a young age. You don't appreciate them like an adult appreciates them. And I have seen almost every one since and re-appreciate it, if that makes sense. I imagine if Sonny's, love affair with movies is lifelong, he'll revisit Sunset Boulevard at some point and get a lot more out of it.
Yeah, the interesting part of it is when I showed up for about the last 10 minutes of it, he was all in. He liked it. He was catching me up. He reviewed it in his own head. Nice. So there you go with that. We got Gina's cranberry sauce she's brought in.
Yeah, now I know where we all stand with, was cranberry sauce broken? No, it wasn't. But I just want to know what your thoughts are on this cranberry sauce.
Made with water.
No, with half a cup of water, half a cup of orange juice, orange zest, and a secret ingredient, which I think you'll appreciate, a pinch of salt.
Yeah, it's good.
You like it?
It's good.
Thank you.
It's really good.
But in the effort of being honest, this is good. I like this. I would eat this Thanksgiving. Prefer without the orange juice.
Okay.
Well, just the people don't think.
I'll remember that for next Thanksgiving.
Every time, like, everything you make is amazing. It is very good. I like this.
It's good.
Citrusy.
It's got a little zest,
little zing.
It's nice.
Yeah. Thank you.
Cranberry not broken, but this isn't broken either. Yeah. I like it. All right.
Well, there is a lot of it, and I don't really eat cranberry sauce.
We got Tales from the Cheap. I think, do we have an opening for that? Yeah, I think we'll do a holiday
Oh, good.
version. I don't know if you guys have holiday versions of Tales from the Cheap.
20-year-old Tupperware, homemade clothes, powdered eggs. It's time for Tales from the Cheap.
My early memories of Thanksgiving is going to my grandma's house and sitting at the kids' table, which has become a trope now, but they had
The
them,
card
man.
table.
It just popped in my head. As a kid, everyone wants the leg. They want the turkey leg.
Sure.
That's what you want. You want to like hold
Gnaw on
it.
it like a
You want to
man.
gnaw on it.
French king.
There's only 2 turkey legs. There's 7 kids. Somebody needs to figure that one out. Do you cook X amount? Like, do you do a turkey leg for every kid? It's a little bit of a battle over who's getting that turkey leg.
Didn't Madden figure that out?
Yes.
Didn't he have like 8 legs on the turkey? It's
Yeah,
like a
let
spider
Monsanto
turkey.
figure it out.
Yeah, he had maybe a turducken with like 8 legs on it. All right, let's talk to Joe, who's 43 from Seattle. Joe?
Hi, Adam Bald. Hey, Gina, happy Hanukkah.
Thank you.
By the way. Oh, speaking of which, I read something the other day, and I thought of you, Gina. Did you know that Oscar the Grouch has a cousin called Ashkenazi, as in Ashkenazi,
That's
on
funny.
the Israeli version of Sesame Street?
That's
This is-
very funny.
Yeah, that's funny.
Ashkenazi.
Yeah,
Wait, is that true?
Ashkenazi Jew.
That's pretty funny. Yeah.
No, it is. Well, whether this is officially canon or not is debated because they filmed the
Ashkenazi.
segment with Ashkenazi, but then in the test screenings, the kids did not get the joke, and the parents thought it was kind of offensive, so they never actually aired it. But
That's
there is
unfortunate.
footage of Ashkenazi in the archives.
That's
somewhere.
fucking
It's a real
great.
Wow,
thing.
I need the
Thank you.
bootleg version of this.
Chagorim Sameach, everybody. That was worth it. Thank you.
What do you got, Joe?
My pleasure. So one Christmas, I was out shopping for Christmas cards, and I found this package that looked like very ornate decoration on the outside, a very sweet holiday theme. I thought it looked beautiful. I got a packet of them for friends and family. I took it home. It turned out I had actually bought a bunch of cards that were for gifting money to people. There was a very prominent slot in each one that's like, here's a gift. I hope you enjoy the holidays. And I was too cheap to actually put money or a gift in each one for all the people I wanted to send these cards to. So I went back to the store and I tried to exchange them. The store manager's like, no, you've opened the package. We can't exchange it, and it's a seasonal thing. So I just took them back home and I sent them to everybody with a note inside that said, sorry, there's no gift in here. I mean, there was something printed on it that made it like extra humiliating, something along the lines of, oh, this gift shows how much I care about you or whatever. I tried to Sharpie over it so they couldn't read it.
That's worse.
You know, if you Sharpie over ink printed on cardboard, you can still read what's under there.
It
so I didn't
highlights it in
bother.
a way.
I used to get from Aunt Pat the card that held the coins.
Yep.
You know, and there was a coin in it for every year you were on the planet, which would be effective now. When I was 7, it didn't really move the needle. Now that I'm in my 50s, hey, you know,
Yeah, now
that's
we're talking.
something. But I don't think there are ever quarters in them. I wonder if she bought the cards and went, I don't want the ones that take the quarters. I need the fine slot ones. I'm a nickel and dimer over here.
It'll fall right through otherwise.
Yeah.
I think there would be dimes in there,
Wow.
and you'd
Wow.
get it was thoughtful. Didn't change my bracket too much, but
Yeah.
any port in a storm, I recall.
It would be easier just to send you the $1 when you were 10.
Yeah, but that would have been 30 cents too much. Like,
Well,
Pat had, it was, again, that Pat and Vince Bruno shared one car well into, I mean, their whole adult life.
Right.
It was always one diesel rabbit. The slowest car. It
boy.
was a Chevy Nova before then, got into it.
That's
Diesel
what I
rabbit at some point.
Are you
But
secretly jealous?
of the sharing
not
of the car.
Not the car specifically, but I think about it all the time where it's like, if we had one car, it's an extra whatever, $100, a few $100 a month.
It's also the perfect out for anything you don't want to attend
put.
or go to. It's just like, Pat's got the car. She took it to work. She's not coming back till 5.
I wish I
got
could.
nothing I could
Yeah,
do.
love to.
Love to grab you at the airport, but cannot. No
Just
can
got the
do.
one car, you know.
Yeah. Joe.
Yeah, these cards are definitely made for folding paper money, so it would have been a big investment to put something in for everybody. So it's like, nope.
What's the temperature like over there in Seattle? I got a guy I work with at the other shop. He says he's going to Seattle for his wedding his anniversary. He's lamenting that he's worried about the homeless people over there and some of the horror stories you hear. How's Seattle looking these days?
Well, I mean, it was really chaotic last summer. I mean, everybody in the country heard about the Chaz occupied protest area. But, I mean, I think that the national media made more out of it than it really was. There's really just one designated area where everybody sort of played by the rules. If you wanted to protest, you go to like this one stretch of block where the protests against the police are happening. But if you're like 15 feet out of that area, you're just a civilian people and you just walk by and nobody cares. So I think that incidents get national coverage out of proportion to how much they actually affect people in the city. The amount of homelessness in the city, that is something that actually does affect daily life, and people see that and they're sad. But I mean, it's such a complicated thing, and I think people are legitimately frustrated. They don't know what to do about it. I listen pretty closely when you have Drew on talking about his experiences with what he thinks works to solve the homeless problem, but. Lots of things and very, very varied reasons that people end up in that situation. So it's frustrating because there's no magic bullet.
Yeah. See, sometimes it's drugs, other times it's drugs, sometimes it's drugs, other times it's drugs.
It's a combination of drugs and alcohol.
We can sit here listing every possible reason.
Yes. I will, look, I'm sure there is such a thing of the mother of three who the plant closed down and the old man moved to Florida. Now she's forced out onto the street, but I don't see any of those people, and I don't see anyone with their kids ever, which is good, I guess. And they all seem fairly addled, either mentally or chemically or both, I would say. But it doesn't seem like it makes sense to pick the outlier and just decide that's the face of homelessness. But it wouldn't work if you were trying to solve any problem that way.
Right.
Pick a kind of outlier, then kind of romanticize that outlier, and then direct your attention toward that outlier. Although I just had Chris grab a clip of our Mayor Garcetti. When's that fucking guy going to India, by the way? I'll drive. I will, unlike Vince Bruno or Pat, I will drive him to the airport.
You're the one car.
But he's got a plan for homelessness at this. Hey, Joe, thanks, by the way, for that offering.
Yeah, no, glad to bring everyone down. But
no, it was me. It was me. I brought up the homelessness. He did a press briefing, a week ago, and he was talking about what we can do about homelessness. Here's his idea.
It's always true that we've needed an all-hands-on approach during this crisis. It's more true now than ever. It's critical that we keep making the most of this moment. So
all right, hold on a second. What moment are we talking about? You've been in office for a long time.
This is the moment.
He's the new mayor?
The thing about the homelessness is it's not like it's a tsunami where it just washes up.
Right.
Like, 10 minutes ago, there was nothing, and now it grows every year slowly. It's like saying, oh, no one could have ever foreseen this ivy growing up the side of the house. Now it's all our problems. It's like, no, you could have fucking clipped it early.
It's not growing every day.
But no, we all gotta
Take advantage.
We all gotta get involved here to solve this problem. We'll do it together. All right, here we go.
The average Angelino who might be listening today. Well, here's a few things you can do to help. If you're a landlord, we need you. And trust me, you'll get your rent every month on time, if you join with us. Open up your available units to formerly unhoused folks. We have city-funded rapid rehousing vouchers and 3,300 emergency housing vouchers that I lobbied in Washington to bring to places like Hollywood.
Freudian
and thanks
slip.
to the Biden administration and Congress, we'll be moving forward. These can subsidize your rent till 2030. You can provide a home to a tenant in real need of stable housing.
I don't think getting the guy strung out on fentanyl. It's that. See, you call it previously housed or currently unhoused. Stop giving it euphemistic fucking titles. Formerly, we've all been unhoused at one point or another. You crash on a futon, you call your folks, you move back into your old bedroom for a couple of months until you right the ship or you get another roommate or whatever it is. Nobody is going to open. And by the way, what about the other people in the 7-unit building that has the fentanyl guy with the fucking lamp cord for a leash and his dog moving in underneath you and your daughter's unit up there?
It's not an attractive tenant.
Also, we're going to pay for this till 2030? Let's
it's gonna go on for a while.
All right. Anyway, Mitch Albom is going to join us momentarily, right? He's on the thing.
Yes.
All right. So let me hit Hyundai. Yeah, widest range of electrified vehicles on the market. Yeah, they are really making strides in this department. Remote charging, flexible ways you can fuel up. In the 2022 Tucson and Santa Fe plug-in hybrid EVs, you can use electric when you want and use gas when you need it. Don't choose between style or function and power or range. Nope, get it all. Do it all with the plug-in hybrid EV. Plus, turbocharged engines mean quiet, rapid acceleration. Yeah, well, people don't know about turbos as it quiets the engine as well as gives it much more power. Digital key allows you to use your Android phone as a spare key. And you can learn more at HyundaiUSA.com. That is HyundaiUSA.com. Mitch Albom, very prolific writer and an entrepreneur, philanthropic entrepreneur and musician. Very interesting story. We'll talk to him right after this.
It's time for Nicaraguan Name That Movie with Adam's buddy Oswaldo. See if you can guess which movie this famous line is from.
All right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
If you said Sunset Boulevard.
All right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
You're correct. Now, back to the show.
My God, that's producing. Mitch Albom is our guest. The book is The Stranger in the Lifeboat. It's available now on Amazon or wherever you find finer books. Good to talk to you again, Mitch.
Thanks, Adam. Good to talk to you, too.
I was fascinated by hearing your story when we spoke earlier for my Take a Knee podcast. So at the risk of being a little repetitive, I think maybe we should go over some of that stuff. We can start with the Tuesdays with Morrie, and I was very interested in how that book came about. So if you don't mind, tell us how that one came about.
Well, I was at the time about 37 years old. I was a pretty ambitious 90-hour-a-week sports writer, a sportscaster, and that was my whole life. And happened to be flicking the channels one night and caught the Nightline program and did a double take because there on the screen talking to Ted Koppel was my old college professor, Morrie Schwartz, and he was talking to him about what it was like to die from Lou Gehrig's disease. And I had been really close with Morrie in college. I had taken every class he offered. I majored in sociology. I took my honors thesis with him, everything, and then lost touch with him for 16 years while I was chasing my own tail in my career. And then I found out that he was dying. So I called him up. It was supposed to be a one-time phone call. At the end of the call, he said, well, would you come visit me? I went to come visit him. It was supposed to be a one-time visit. But I was so taken with how satisfied he was with his life and how content he was, even as he was dying from this terrible disease. And he was twice my age and 10 times happier with his life than I was. And I began to go back the next Tuesday, and all the Tuesdays that he had left in his life to sort of get that answer to that question. You know, what do we realize when we really know we're going to die that puts the rest of our life into perspective? And wouldn't it be great to have that perspective when you're young enough and actually healthy enough to do something about it? And eventually that became the book Tuesdays with Morrie, quite by accident. I didn't go there to write a book. I went there because I clearly needed a change in my life, but turned into this little book that I wrote to pay his medical bills. And then it kind of changed my life.
Did you ever, if I can ask, did you ever consider the paradox of we should all expect that we're going to die, whether or not we have ALS or some advanced disease. You being naive, obviously that's, builds into youth, but did you ever explore that or thoughts on that?
Oh, yeah. Well, Morrie said that to me all the time. He said, everybody knows they're going to die, but nobody actually believes it. We think they're going to invent something, the day before we're supposed to go. Oh, we just invented the pill that's going to save everybody. And when you really have to confront your mortality, then you realize you should have been living your life every day as if there was like a little bird on your shoulder that you had to check in with and say, is today the day I'm going to die? And obviously every day of your life, except one, the bird's going to say no. But that one that the bird says yes, are you prepared and ready, or is your response going to be, oh, no, wait, I got a million things I now have to do now that I know I'm actually going to die, and I didn't get to do this and I didn't get to do that, and I didn't spend time with my family and I didn't spend time with my loved ones, and so I think about that all the time. I think that's one of the biggest lessons I learned from that experience.
The story about why you decided to turn it into a book and sell the book is an interesting one. Some words that Morrie gave you. I'm interested in hearing that again.
Well, he told me that he thought he was going to die a second death. And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, I'm going to die when I die. And then wherever I am, I'm going to die again because my family is going to have to sell the house to pay the medical bills. And, that would kill me all over again. And that was when I found out how deeply in debt he was for years of dealing with ALS. And I went around to publishers in New York trying to get the idea for a book to be sold because that was the only way I knew how to make any money. And I said, this is a great thing that's going on, a great lesson that we're having. And, I just need enough money to pay his medical bills. That's all I need. And pretty much everybody said, no, thank you. It's boring. You're a sports writer. It's depressing. Nobody's going to want to read it. And I would have given up probably if it was just for me, but because it was for him, I kind of pushed and kept pushing and finally found somebody 3 weeks before he died. Wow. And I was able to tell him, Morrie, we're going to turn these visits into a little book. And the best part is they're going to give us some money up front, and I'm going to give it all to you and just go pay your medical bills. You don't have to die a second time. And I always say for me, that was the end of Tuesdays with Morrie because, I'd finally learned to do one nice thing for this older man who had done so many nice things for me in his life. And I finally did something, that wasn't about my career and wasn't about ambition, or which all I had been about up till that point. And then he died, and I wrote the book after he died. He never read a word of it, which is funny because people are now studying it in China and Switzerland and Australia and all that. And, his reach has gone so far for someone who's not even here to teach it. But it wasn't supposed to be a big book, I can tell you that. It was a tiny little 20,000 copy print run that they thought I would have in my basement for the rest of my life in big boxes or give out to people who came for Christmas, But it turned into something else.
Turned into about 20 million units sold?
Yeah, something like that.
Gina?
Well, it's interesting. First of all, in Judaism, I'm sure a lot of people have heard this word called tzedakah, and it's basically how you give to other people. And one of the highest forms of tzedakah is doing something for someone that you can never be repaid. And so it really struck me because that's really what you did, is the highest form of tzedakah. And when you said that, he was afraid to die a second time, I thought you were going to say something different. And of course, his is more logistical and it makes perfect sense. But I've also heard a parable that your second death is when the last person stops talking about you. And you also made that come true for him because the world will be talking about him forever. And it's very, very cool.
Yeah, I know the parable. It's a poem about people who are buried in the ground and they're lamenting that they're going to die a second time when nobody remembers them anymore, and that the second death is when you're forgotten. Right. And you're right. Yeah, he's not likely to be forgotten anytime soon, and nothing could make me happier because he was a really terrific and wise guy.
It's the plot of Coco.
Yeah,
it is.
Muertos, yeah.
It is, and it's also a nice parable, or I don't even know if it's a parable, but it's nice, which is it started completely organically. You wanted to go pay homage to this person that touched your life. And then it organically became a book when that person wasn't going to be able to pay for their medical bills. And it was all done in a sort of organic, philanthropic, whatever. I mean, it sounds kind of trite, but the best things always kind of come out of that versus I got a new idea. It's not Bitcoin, but it's like Bitcoin. You know what I mean? And it's like, and maybe those things cosmically don't work out that well because you shouldn't be repaid for that. You were cosmically repaid quite a bit for this effort.
Yeah, I have tended to find in my career that, if you try to do things for the right reason, don't try to aim them, it usually works out. And if it doesn't work out, you still feel good about it because, if it doesn't work out commercially, you still feel good about it because you did did it for the right reasons. And pretty much all my books ever since then have contained some kind of element of From Tuesdays with Morrie, some lesson I learned or something that I've been thinking about or people have been talking to me about, all the way up to The Stranger in the Lifeboat, which is at its core is about help. It's about asking for help and what we expect when we ask for help and how sometimes we don't recognize it even when it shows up on our doorstep.
I know I spoke to you about the work you're doing in Haiti and that the tragedy with the young girl you adopted from Haiti and the orphanage that you're running over there. But can we talk about that for a minute?
Sure. So I took over an orphanage in Haiti in 2010, right after the earthquake. I've been there for 12 years. I'm there every month. We have 53 children that we raise at any given time. All of our kids have college scholarships waiting for them, and a number of them are up here now in America going to college. And when they're done, they come back and they work at the orphanage for 2 years in whatever field they studied. And then they go into the Haitian society to make Haiti a better country. It's not a pipeline to America. There are enough people who are coming that direction. We want to try to put ourselves out of business in Haiti eventually. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon because we have children who have been left to die in the woods because their parents didn't want them. We have children who have been left in malnutrition centers or medical centers and just dropped off and nobody ever came back for them. And we don't even have birth certificates. We don't have names. We have to invent birthdays and identities. But when they come to us, I mean, they're treated with love and joy, and they go to school 4 hours a day in English and 4 hours a day in French. And they're the most incredible, thankful, polite, devoid of any kind of internet poisoning or iPhone poisoning, or we don't have television, we don't have anything like that. So you get to see childhood in its natural form. And the time of every month that I spend down there is always the highlight for me. And as far as Chica's concerned, we adopted one of the girls from our orphanage who came to us when she was 3. She survived the earthquake, believe it or not, when she was 3 days old. And her little home collapsed around her, but she lived through it. And you would have thought that would have been enough for one lifetime. But when she was 5, she developed a brain tumor. And we brought her to America, and she never went home. We basically became our daughter, and we traveled around the world for a couple years trying to find a cure. And although she was supposed to die in 4 months, she lived for 2 years, and those were the 2 of the most amazing years we ever had. Unfortunately, she died when she was 7. And I was pretty angry at the world and God and anything else, when she died, because I just couldn't understand how there could be a benevolent God that couldn't be benevolent to a 7-year-old. And it took me a few years to try to recover from that. And The Stranger in the Lifeboat is actually, while it's a novel, it's sort of my healing book about, like I say, when you call out for help and, it doesn't come exactly the way you want it, does that mean you're being ignored? And I created a story that kind of addresses that, which I'm happy to share with you if you want. But that's what sort of Chica's life kind of ended up reflected in this latest book.
How much? Yeah, I would like you to share that. But I would also like to ask, how much of a reset is it for you when you go to Haiti? I mean, the theme for you seems to be doing things for others, but getting a lot out of it for yourself.
Well, the reset that you talk about starts when you get off the plane and you have to make sure that you're in an armored car when you go from the airport to your orphanage because there are gangs that are out there that are ready to kidnap anybody at any time. And you've probably heard about the missionaries that were kidnapped. But there have been over 800 people kidnapped in Haiti, most of them Haitians, just this year alone. So just having to suddenly think about, okay, can we take that turn there? Does the bodyguard have his gun? You know, all those types of things. You're resetting definitely from, you know, the American experience. And then when we get into the orphanage, nothing works, you know, like the internet barely functions and you lose all contact with the outside world. The kids come running up to you and jumping all over you and you're just lost in this sea of children who are just so happy to have you there and they want to play and they want to show you this and everything is with crayons and pencils. You know, there's nobody showing you a iPhone or look at this video. You know, everybody's they're jumping up in the tree and pulling these canip fruits out of the tree and opening them up and eating the nuts that are inside. So it's a total reset of your priorities, and it's lights out at, you know, when we lose electricity, which is every night because you only get electrical power 12 hours a day, and so yeah, everything is reset, and I like it. You know, I sleep better there than I ever sleep here in the States, even though there it's a 4-inch mattress, you know, with a little old pillow. And I never set an alarm clock because the kids wake me up every morning outside the door. Are you up, Mr. Mitch? Well, I am now, you know. It's usually about 6 o'clock in the morning. So, yeah, it's a wonderful experience. I mean, I know it sounds like I'm doing something, you know, because you say you run an orphanage. But to be honest, I get way more out of it than I feel like I'm giving.
What is going on with Haiti, and what is the potential future, and why is this going on this way in Haiti?
The assassination, the coup.
Yeah, just what is that?
Well, I mean, it's a long story, and I'm sure you don't want to hear the whole thing, but Haiti has a long history of corruption in politics. That's nothing new. The poverty is so strong there. It's the second poorest country in the world and the poorest on this side of the world. And so you have, you know, when you have to pay to go to school and nobody has any money, you're not going to get an educated populace. When you have a corrupt political system that wants to keep everybody kind of ignorant and poor and just keep the money at the very, very, very top, you're not going to have a society that advances. And then it's the gangs move in when the police are neutered, which they are there. And if you want to see what a society without police looks like, come to Port-au-Prince, because the police have very little power. They're demoralized. They don't have weapons. The gangs have all the control and the money. And so therefore they control the streets and they make them very dangerous. And so, but somehow through that, the Haitian people are incredibly resilient, incredibly. And, you know, they've been paying a price for over 200 years for being the first and only successful slaveable country in the history of the world. And they threw out the French and they said, no, you're not going to enslave us. We're going to take over our own country. And that was 1804. And as soon as they did that, nobody applauded them. Everybody stopped dealing with them because all the other countries in the world were still dealing with slavery of their own. And they didn't want to recognize a country that, you know, suddenly the slaves were in charge. And so they've been paying a price for it ever since. And I just wish there could be some intervention by the UN or the US or something to try to make the country a little safer for the people who have to worry every time they go outside.
Yeah, I always say this, but it's 2021. You know, I just can't believe that this stuff is going on. It still goes on. You hear all the horror stories. They sound like the same horror stories from a couple hundred years ago.
And that's in between natural disasters.
Yeah, or like 2,000 years ago.
Yeah.
And then I'm always like, but to what end? Like, this doesn't seem like it's going to evolve its way out of this. At some point, can we get some delegation together, some boots on the ground, some international group, UN, what have you? Like, is there any talk of that? I mean, you certainly would know more than we would.
You know, the people talk of it, but the government doesn't. Government still hasn't figured out who killed the president. Can you imagine if we were in America and it's now December and our president was killed in August and we still didn't know who did it?
Well, Kamala Harris, come on. I mean, I think we all know that. Yeah. But Yeah, so they're just. It's just. I don't
point to JFK.
I don't think people know. Well, that's a conspiracy, but at least we put someone, or we tried to put someone behind bars. True. But I don't think people really know. We haven't talked about it in a while. What corruption does. You know what I mean? We always talk about kind of like poverty. We talk about education. We talk about environment and stuff like that. Corruption. When you have a really corrupt government, country, entity, it just can't flourish. It can't move.
And no matter how much a world power comes and tries to help, like we talk about, they bring sacks of grain and flour. Well, those don't get to the people that need it.
Intercepted by warlords.
You're screwed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Does anyone?
Yes, and yes.
Does anyone ever bother the orphanage?
Thank God to this point we have not been bothered. No.
So the way, the answer to the question of, how do you fix Haiti?
Oh, good, you have an answer.
Well, it's a slow boat answer, but it's what Mitch is talking about, which is get one kid educated and then bring them back and let them populate.
Yeah.
At a certain point, there's going to be more of them than there are gangbangers, and that's how you fix Haiti. I imagine sort of slowly and organically. That seems to be what the plan is, right, Mitch?
Yeah, I've always felt that, I can't fix what's the matter with Haiti, and nobody who comes down there can fix what's the matter with Haiti. But if you can take a little tiny corner and try to turn a few kids' lives around and try to inspire them to do something, and someone else comes and takes another tiny corner, and someone else takes another tiny corner, then eventually maybe you can turn it around. My hope one day is that one of our kids becomes the president of the country. And when they say, well, who did you know? Or, what silver spoon were you born with that you could, take over? And then they say, I grew up in an orphanage. And then we'll have come full circle. That's my hope. We'll see.
The story of the stranger in the lifeboat that I'm now circling back to. Can we talk about that for a little bit?
Yeah, so the plot, here's the 30-second movie trailer of it. There's this really rich guy who owns this big yacht, and he invites all his rich, fancy friends, celebrities, business movers and shakers for this week-long soiree, and the night before they're due to come back, the thing mysteriously explodes, blows up. Everybody is killed except 10 people, 5 of whom are the rich guests and 5 of whom are the help and the staff. They make their way to this life raft, and they're out on this life raft for 3 days, and nobody's coming for them. There's sharks spotted in the water. They're running out of food. They're crying out, desperate, and alone. And suddenly they see this guy floating in the water, and they pull him into the boat. And he's a young guy, nondescript, very average looking, nothing special. And they're peppering him with questions, and he doesn't say anything. And finally, one of the passengers says, well, thank the Lord we found you. And he says, I am the Lord. And that's where it jumps off into what happens as the days transpire. And, I mentioned to you that the theme of it is when we call out for help, when we ask for help. Well, they were all crying out for help. And along comes this guy who looks like he rents surfboards for a living. And they do not believe that he could possibly be who he says he is. And, they say to him, oh, you're the Lord. Yeah, sure. Okay, what are you doing here? And he says, well, haven't you been calling me? And they say, okay, fine. So what, you're going to save us? And he says, I can only save you if everybody in the boat believes I am who I say I am at the same time. And of course, with 10 disparate people, some of whom are very wealthy, some of whom aren't, or whatever, you're never going to get that. And they, despite the fact that, they've been asking for help, they keep denying that this guy could possibly be the help that they want. And as the days go on and things get more dire and there's storms and shark attacks and all this thing, some of them start to change their mind, some of them don't. And it's kind of a parable about, when are we ready to accept help, even if it's not under our terms.
How does it end?
No.
Well,
hold on,
I can't tell you how it ends. I can't tell you how it ends, but I can tell you a few things along the way. A, that the guy is not necessarily God. So just because he says he is, I'm not saying one way or the other. You got to read the book. But it did give me an opportunity to ask the questions. Like if I were to disappear from this podcast suddenly and a voice were to replace me and said, well, Mitch is gone, but this is God. and I'm going to give you 60 seconds on your podcast. Go ahead, ask me anything you want. I'm sure you'd have some pretty good questions. And I tried to take those questions and put them in the mouths of the passengers who were on this boat. So, for example, at one point, one of them says, well, you're God, you say you're God. Do you actually hear any prayers? Do you actually answer any prayer? And he says, I answer every prayer, but sometimes the answer is no. And, something that I have found to be true in my life. Or, of course, the ultimate question, which is what we would all ask. And I sort of surreptitiously asked through a character, why do people have to die? And in this case, one of the men in the boat lost his wife, and he's crying, and he says to this God character, why did you take my wife? Why did my wife have to die? And the answer is, well, when people die here on earth, people are always saying, why did God have to take them? Maybe a better question would be, what did we do to deserve God giving them to us? What did we do to warrant their sweetness or their memories or all the good times we had with them? Didn't you have that with your wife? And he says, yeah, every day. And the God character says, well, those memories are a gift, but their absence isn't a punishment. I'm not trying to make your life miserable. And he concludes by saying, I know that you cry when your loved ones die here on earth and they pass away, but I can assure you those who are leaving the earth are not crying. And, I wrote that as much for myself as I did for anybody who reads the book, because as I mentioned to you before, I had to come to some kind of terms with the loss of a 7-year-old child. And I could not be angry like I was when it first happened for the rest of my life. And being able to kind of look at it and say, well, wait a minute. She came into our lives when we were in our mid-50s. My wife and I had prayed to have children 15, 20 years ago, and we never did. And now all of a sudden, we had a child, and we had a 5-year-old with all the beauty and joy and funniness and all that comes with having a 5-year-old and a 6-year-old and a 7-year-old. What do we do to deserve that? Why? And instead of looking at it as what was taken from us, I tried to look at it as what was given to us. And I find that was a lot more comforting way to go through a loss.
Oh, it's God on the phone.
Could be God on the hotline.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Mitch, you're known as a sports guy. Let's shift gears. Rams on a 3-game slide. Is Stafford really the answer, or is he past his prime? Go.
Okay. Yeah.
Fucking 3 games in a row, those assholes have lost. Yeah, well, Mitch was telling me the reason. Well, he wasn't telling me, but I was at. He's such a great sports writer, and he was saying it's because he wasn't really that interested in sports, which is I think is a great answer, and I want to explore that a little bit. But I also feel that way about. I make some car documentaries, and they're better than the ones that are made by the car guys because we don't make them like we're interested in cars. We're more interested in the story of it. Right. And so you get a better product, even though it's about cars. And if you want to see a really shitty car doc, then watch one made by car guys because they're not that good. And do you bring some of that? I mean, we were talking about it, bringing that mentality to sports writing.
Yeah, actually, I think I bring it to all of my writing. I mean, I'm not a theologian, but I wrote about a book about, a guy who claims to be God in a lifeboat. I think if I were writing it from a theological point of view or a particular religion or dogma point of view, it would not be as accessible, and it's the same thing with sports. I think if I told you, Adam, I was never the guy who memorized who led the league in triples in 1943. First of all, they have books. You can look that up. But secondly, who can remember that? I was always interested in more of the losers and the people who came in second or, worked their whole way in the Olympics and finished fourth and just didn't get a medal. I think people can relate to that part of sports better than they can LeBron James, who's like Superman. And none of us really have that kind of skill, or few of us. So, I just never wrote it. I always thought that if I'm going to write sports, I always had like a disinterested grandmother in North Carolina in my mind. And here I was, a sports columnist in Detroit. And I always said, if I can make that woman want to read this column, then I did something right. And that was sort of my acid test, and not assume, because the sports nuts, they're going to read it anyhow. They might hate you or whatever, or say it's so, but they're going to read it because they read everything. But if you really want to try to pull people in, find the humanity in any story, sports story or otherwise.
Yeah, it's a very good approach. Once again, the book is called The Stranger in the Lifeboat, and it's available on Amazon, wherever you find books, and you can also
Finer books,
and also you can check out Mitch Albom, his website. And I'm guessing if people want to donate or be involved with one of your many charities, it might be on that website.
It would be. And the orphanage is havefaithhaiti.org if people are interested in that. But yeah, they can't remember that. If you go to mitchalbom.com, all the information is there under the charities, and that's very kind of you to offer that. But that says, I'm not soliciting anything from anybody. I don't believe in that. And, people find their way to what they want to do and help. And if you do the right thing, I've found that people usually find you on their own. And I hope that people do.
Well, normally when I say you're doing the Lord's work, I don't mean it literally, but in this case, we're getting pretty close to doing the Lord's work. Mitch Albom, thanks so much for joining us, and I hope to speak to you again soon.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me on anytime.
Thanks, Mitch. Oh, one of the good ones, everybody. All right.
I can't wait to read that book.
Yeah,
that sounds like I know the ending.
It's a great
You
writer.
don't know anything.
Well, I know about Stamps.com. Looking to skip the post office and dodge the hectic holiday shopping traffic. Save time, save money with Stamps.com. Stamps.com lets you compare rates and print labels and access exclusive discounts on UPS and USPS services all year long, up to 40% off of USPS rates and 76% off UPS. So whether you're selling online, running an office, you got a little side hustle going, it just makes sense, especially if your business sends more mail and packages out during the holidays. We've always used Stamps.com over here, all the merch and books and everything we send out. It's been, well over a decade. Stamps.com saves you time, saves you money, saves you stress during the holidays. Right, Dawson?
Save time and money this holiday season with Stamps.com. Sign up with promo code Adam for a special offer that includes a 4-week trial, free postage, and a digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. Just go to Stamps.com, click the microphone at the top of the page, and enter code Adam.
Well, we didn't really scratch the surface of our trending topics yesterday with Chris Maxipata, so thought we'd bring him in and finish up some of those subjects. We'll do that right after this.
It's time to check Adam's voicemail.
Ace man, get it on. Bad roommate talk. My 2 roommates and I lost track of whose turn it was to do the dishes. After about a 6-week dirty dish standoff where it was starting to stink and gross stuff, we went bowling. Lowest score had to do them. The roommate who lost protested, and eventually his mom came into town to do the dishes. Good times. Keep up the good work, Ace Man.
You can leave us a message at 888-634-1744.
There's nothing worse than at some point when you have to cut that deal where you go, fine, we'll flip a coin, whoever loses, and they go, they lose, and they go, I'm not doing it anyway. That is you people need to eat a fucking bullet. You're the worst people in the world. At some point, you have to establish some ground rules for life. And if it's a bowling game or flipping a coin, once you sign off,
that's it.
God, don't you remember that, like growing up? All right, we're going to do it. You flip a coin, you got to ride in the back seat. And then
I cross my fingers.
They're not down with it.
Yeah.
Having no honor.
Sorry. We have an intro.
Maxipata, 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 oh, Maxipata.
Rock me, Maxipata.
Well, he stands no more than 5'3". This puffy-head, horny, hungry Asian pygmy. Road trips with Carolla and sleeps in a drawer. Heard he's good with the ladies, Filipino man whore. Took a school bus trip all around the state. He got a big appetite, likes to clean his plate. His real name's Laksamana, but not to Adam. So we changed that shit up, now we call him Maxipata. Maxipata, 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 Maxipata.
All right, so before we get into the trending topics, yesterday we were talking about getting robbed and if any of us have ever gotten robbed. I went around and asked some of the staff their stories. Like Gary, he had his TV stolen every year in college.
Wow.
How does that happen?
We've all had bikes stolen in college.
Yes.
Yeah.
Obviously, TV is a much bigger
Yeah,
deal.
they're breaking into like his college, his dorm or his frat house. I don't know wherever he lived. And then Ryan, his dad was stabbed by a mugger because he refused to give up the money.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Really?
Is he still with us?
Ryan? Yeah, he's right
No,
there.
the mugger.
Yeah, Ryan, what happened?
So I just actually called him because it's a little bit
The
of
mugger?
When I was younger, it was like, oh, like that's pretty cool. Like my dad got stabbed because he refused to give up his wallet, and like it turned out there was no money in the wallet, which is
Wow.
But yeah, he was like
It's a man of principle.
yeah. He was going home and he was super drunk because some guy it's one of their friends apparently just got a sales job and he got like a corporate card and he just bought everyone drinks. And so he was like stumbling home and their ride like took off with a girl. So they were trying to find a payphone to like crash at somebody's place. He went up to a payphone while his other buddy, who's like a tiny guy, is passed out on like a doorstep, like fully passed out. And instead of like going up to him, they went up to my dad, who's at the payphone, and like he turned around and thought like, oh, it's my buddy, like fucking with me. And they just like started like pummeling him, and like he was like holding the one guy with one hand, he was holding the knife,
It's not funny.
and he was just getting pummeled in the face, like
Where was this?
It was in San Francisco.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you go.
We're number one.
And did they get his wallet?
No, never got the wallet.
Yeah.
How badly was he stabbed?
They stabbed him in the leg and the stuff. Like, imagine one guy was behind him with a knife and he was holding the wrist with one arm, and then the other guy was literally just getting free pummelings on his face.
I always, maybe it's my medium to low self-esteem, but I could see a world where I went to somebody like, give me your watch. But once they said no, the vigorous beating, like you should have given me this thing that I didn't buy. It's weirdly inspired, isn't it? It's like I feel like it's a big energy.
A lot of moxie.
Like when people
Just move on to the
really
next watch.
are just like beating the fuck out of someone who by the way, didn't engage in a behavior they wouldn't have engaged in if somebody asked them for their watch. Like I get the part where you want the watch and you want some drugs or you want some money or life has not dealt you a good hand, but the vigorous beating, like is if those kinds of things where it's like, if I ever found the guy who raped my daughter, if I got my hands on, except for you've never met this person, and you asked them for a watch, or wallet,
right?
Where's
Timex.
Where's the energy coming?
Yeah,
where's the motivation?
Where's the passion
It's a
come
business
from?
transaction.
Yeah, once I didn't get the wallet, I'd be like, yeah, okay, I was kidding. I'm just gonna find somebody else.
Yeah, there's some other issues.
Mm-hmm.
Good job. Well, that reminded me, a friend of mine, my husband's very dear friend, this woman, she's from another country. She came here, and a year into her living here, she got mugged and stabbed on Hollywood Boulevard because she was trying to somebody tried to grab her friend's purse, and so they kind of got in a tug of war, and they stabbed her on Hollywood Boulevard.
Yeah, somebody just got shot and killed outside of a restaurant in Hollywood because they accosted a woman. He got out of the car and they got shot. I mean, it was right in the middle of Hollywood.
So these are real threats.
These are real things.
Yeah, I've had garden shears pulled on me when I was a cashier at the
They're gonna
TJ
prune
Maxx. He switched the tags and I caught him. I'm
So
like,
get to work.
this purse isn't this much. I think we're gonna have to do a price check. And he just flashed the garden shears. He's like, just put it in the bag.
Wow.
Yeah, and I did. I sure did.
Were they?
Oh my God.
But there were garden shears that he brought in.
Yeah, they were in his pocket. They just he just flashed them at me, and then
Wow.
and then he left, and I've always been
lived to tell
confused by
his
this
tale.
because all the jobs where like we've been robbed or like people did that because they did it to other cashiers too, or like if you're at a restaurant and somebody walks out on the check, it's totally illegal to do anything about it. I guess like to like go after them.
I wonder if that law's changed because when I worked in the grocery store, it was me and a lot of other teenagers, obviously working, bagging and whatever. And on the couple of occasions that someone like ran out with something, it was fucking game on. It was a chance for the kid to like
Really?
street justice.
Yeah.
I wasn't the one who did it. It was a chance for the other baggers or checkers to go make a tackle, an open field tackle.
I know at like Urban Outfitter and stuff like that, once their feet are out of the store, you can't chase them. That's their rule.
Yeah.
But also, like, you don't get paid enough to go run down thieves. You know, that's not your job.
Bonus.
Yeah. That's what my manager's trying to tell me. Just let it go. He just told me, just let it go.
Right.
I had a flashback to something I don't think I've mentioned ever, maybe on the podcast, or it's been 10 years, but I've never really been on the losing end of like your violent street crime. Most of it is head's kind of always on a swivel, and I'm always kind of I approach that like I drive, stay away, keep some distance,
defensive walking,
a lot of defensive walking going. I mean, it's unavoidable sometimes, but
you're playing zone.
I play a lot of zone, and but I did.
You're not playing press coverage.
I went to go visit my friend John Tyler, who had a job at the Vans store. Vans used to just have one little shack in North Hollywood.
Yeah.
They opened up a bigger one down Laurel Canyon, but they started with this small little shack right on Laurel off of Riverside or Magnolia, right in between.
Valley.
It was like a little shack, and he worked there, and it was at night. Maybe they were open till 8 or 9 or something. And one of the other Vans stores was like robbed at gunpoint, and we were just alone in this little shack. There wasn't anybody in there. And I said to him, well, what happened? He's like, black guy came in, asked if they had Adidas, and then tied up everybody in there and robbed them. And I was like, ugh, like the idea of being tied up in the back, so I mean, and about 10 seconds later, black guy walked in. He's like, do you have Adidas? And
we're wet bandits.
We're both just like standing there, just kind of looking at him, kind of frozen.
It goes up like a spike.
And like my buddy John's like, no, we just have Vans. And
Prince Albert in a can.
Looked at me, and he looked at John. He's like, okay, and he walked out. And I don't know if they were gonna do something, but spotted. I was playing football, pretty well built. Like maybe just thought I don't want to handle two guys. But it was weird, and it was super scary. And that's about as close as I've gotten to
Thank
that.
God they didn't have Adidas.
Yeah.
Dawson said he had a story. He didn't tell me, but he just prefaced that it's going to totally break my heart. So I'm curious.
Boy. A couple decades ago, my brother had a guitar stolen out of the back of his Honda Civic. This guitar was a 1937 Martin acoustic. Kaylin will throw a picture of what that guitar looks like.
Beautiful.
The most recent one that sold.
Oh, no.
Sold for $52,000. So the drug addict who smashed in my brother's mirror and just picked the guitar up because my brother just left it in the case right there in a bad neighborhood. And it breaks my family's heart. Oh God, it makes me want to fucking cry.
Yeah.
It was my grandfather's 1937 pre-World War II Martin acoustic. The most precision guitar ever made in history.
There's also a plot of cocoa.
Really?
Well, there was
It's the B plot.
Did and he sold it for $18.
Must yeah,
$20.
probably pawned it for maybe $100, $80.
Wow.
Had no idea what the guy stole.
Damn.
Back then, it was appraised sight unseen 30 years ago for $42,000.
Wow.
And
your brother knew that?
No way.
We all knew. He just his girlfriend lived in a bad neighborhood, and he was staying over there. And
bring it in.
I don't know.
Bring his guitar in.
Bring it in.
Yeah, you can't travel with a guitar.
I bring it in restaurants. I've had my guitar stolen out of the car before.
Oh, this whole thing, I might as well.
Yeah.
I don't know your brother, Dawson, but is it possible that this is all an elaborate ruse?
No.
To abscond with the
glass
guitar?
in a Honda Honda Accord rear window, that's $126. But full ownership of the guitar Grandpa gave me
He could
and
buy 4 Hondas.
and Mike Dawson.
He would have something to show for it other than my mother's broken heart.
The fur coat for Goodfellas.
Well, it could still be sitting on it.
No.
Ready to take that thing to auction. Okay. I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Keep our eyes peeled. And lastly, Matt Fondelier had his car stolen when he was in Mexico.
Yeah.
That adds up.
Yeah.
Many a year ago, when I had my long distance relationship, I would drive over with my señorita, and we woke up one morning, and my '97 Acura Integra was gone, completely gone. I had to take a bus back home to North Hollywood. It was one of the saddest days of my life.
Wow. At least, you save them the trouble of stealing it and taking it to Mexico. You know what I mean?
El Chapo should be so lucky.
Cut out, at least you cut out a middleman, because there had to be somebody in charge of looking the other way when the flatbread brought it into Mexico, but you brought the mountain to Mohammed.
That's
Window
right.
of negligence.
Did they ever find it?
They did, actually. The car was my very first car, so it was a car that my parents had purchased for me. So the car was in my dad's name, and whoever stole my car attempted to sell it to somebody else, and that person was trying to re-register the car. And so my dad got a notice that someone was trying to re-register this car. And so on a future trip to Mexico, I met with a rando and a police officer in like a supermarket parking lot.
It's like
and had
Sicario
to give
shit.
cash to a police officer to help negotiate and get my car back.
Oh, you greased the wheel.
And it had no hubcaps. The radio was stolen and the catalytic converter was taken, but I was able to drive that hunk of junk back across the border.
Boy, that must have sounded sweet without that catalytic converter.
And no radio or anything. It was awful.
Just pure open exhaust.
What was the scene at the border where this car that's obviously used to mule drugs being driven by that Matt fucking Fontelier?
Yeah, I definitely was like, you're not going to believe this. But they let me back over.
You drove it all the way back to North Hollywood?
I did.
Oh,
Wow.
God.
Yep.
It's your penance.
And I'm trying to think of how even. I don't think a modern car would work if you removed the catalytic converter. The computer would probably tell it something. But a lot of people hacking out catalytic converters.
It's a big deal right now in Long Beach. All the Prii are getting hit.
Prii.
Yes.
They
have. I'm scared.
Wait, they don't have catalytic converters.
Well, they're all.
I think they do.
Yeah, they're getting hit. Like
I've heard about Priuses.
Oh, they're not all plug-in electric.
No.
They're
Yeah,
hybrid
hybrids.
electric. Right.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, they have a catalytic converter.
Why is that such a big thing?
It has expensive
valuable.
metals in it. I think it has like platinum or something. The catalytic converter, I think, works by superheating the exhaust and essentially burning off whatever you don't want in the atmosphere. So it's kind of in the middle of the car.
Audible, take this one. Gina, imagine a nice pair of shoes or a handbag. Now, those might be more valuable to you than the average person.
Indeed.
But they have a certain value of the material.
Oh, so it's a nice leather,
Yeah,
not
it's a
just because it has
thick,
the serial
with the
number that says
stitching.
Lifeboat. Thank you, Brian. I'm so glad somebody could explain this to me.
So you got to go. I don't know what it's like with the Prius, but you got the engine in the front. You got the exhaust manifold that bolts to the engine, and it's just a pipe that goes down, and then in the middle, catalytic converter. They've moved it closer, I think, to the exhaust or something, to the engine. But anyway, and then from that part back, just muffler and that kind of stuff.
To get to the catalytic converter, don't you have to fuck up the rest of the car to get in there?
You get under it.
You get under it.
Handbag.
It's funny. I wasn't really talking about it. I didn't talk about it, but I've been thinking about it, and I was thinking about it as a pertain to these looters and the Home Depot and all that kind of stuff. Battery operated tools used to be pretty much just a 9.6 volt Makita screwdriver. Now they have battery everything, and they're powerful.
Or they're lithium ion, right?
And they
go forever.
work. They work. And they have when I used to work in the trades, you'd have a Sawzall, be a bayonet saw or reciprocating saw, and you had to plug it in because there's no battery powerful enough. Now everyone uses battery-operated Sawzalls. You get a battery-operated Sawzall, you put the by-cutting metal blade on it, you get a little can of WD-40, there's no chain or schoolyard or catalytic converter. You just buzz. You
like hot butter.
You just buzz right through everything. So I think a lot of those guys are just cutting them out.
Yeah, that's what's happening. It's like a 3-minute job. Like you just go in there, you get it, and you're gone before anybody.
I've heard about this.
Notices.
But your market is people who've had their catalytic converter stolen.
They're just swapping them around town.
That happened to me with hubcaps. I had my hubcaps stolen, And I went on Craigslist to see if there were any similar hubcaps being sold. And this guy, like 2 blocks down, was selling a hubcaps that were my size. And I went there, and then as I'm buying, I'm like, am I buying back my own hubcaps?
I don't think, I mean, and I'm not an expert in catalytic converters, but I don't really think you go through catalytic converters. If you need a catalytic converter, it's not like a battery where it's been 5 years, now it's on the fritz, I need a new battery. You pretty much have that catalytic converter. I mean, I can open it up to people here, but I've never had to replace a catalytic converter.
Only
you
when
have
it's
to
stolen.
replace it when it's stolen.
Yeah.
And you're essentially creating your own market because you steal enough of them and everyone needs one.
Yeah, you're just holding them for ransom, essentially.
It's like Bitcoin.
I thought they were getting it for the valuable metal, and they can sell it to.
I don't know. Ryan, Kalen, I don't know. Someone can look into it. I think it has platinum or something in there, and it is a valuable metal. And the version of that is actually when I did that stand-up Truth Yeller with Leno was explaining.
Oh, your car friend?
Yeah, my car guy buddy. They steal copper.
Yeah.
They'll pull the wire out.
Oh,
Steal,
I've seen Sopranos.
Steal piping. Jay's like, they stole a whole copper main valve, like in his shop. Like they were just doing like big time work with the water supply. Just come and take that Sawzall, man. Copper, you can cut copper like butter with a Sawzall blade. Kids, are you listening? And you just buzz right through it and take it with you. And 4 blocks from here is the recycling center, and you just walk in with that. But
yeah, you're right. I'm looking at this here, and it says they're expensive because of the rare and precious metals they use to construct them.
But are people, and there's platinum, palladium, and rhodium, I guess. But are they melting them down, or are they just selling them back to people? Yeah, I don't know.
There's a limited market.
Well, again, you steal the copper to go to the copper place and sell them the copper, not to sell to homeowners as piping.
Right.
But in this case, I don't think it's analogous.
Blend of materials.
Yeah. I think in this case, you're selling the catalytic converter back, and you should know by the sound of it. Don't you, Chris? Didn't you say you knew somebody who got their catalytic converter stolen?
My girlfriend.
Later.
Yeah, well, Matt too. My girlfriend, you know you got it stolen because your car sounds like one of Adam's race cars. The whole neighborhood
throaty,
hears it. Very throaty, loud. Yeah, it's you'll know instantly, and it doesn't drive nearly as well either. You can totally tell when you're driving it, but
yeah,
there's no acceleration.
When I was a kid, my house got broken into. And
both doors?
They left. I think they just took one. Maybe they left through the other. I remember first off feeling sorry for the thieves. Like my mom's. Sure. I mean, my mom, if you had a mattress, it was on the floor. Like she didn't have a box.
How embarrassing!
There was nothing. About the only thing they could steal is we probably had a TV set. They probably stole that. But I remember them leaving a Coke can in there, and it was just. It was extra creepy. I don't know why. The leave
creepy.
stuff behind people. Clean up after yourselves. You've caused enough emotional damage for the day.
So that's where it started with you saying, I don't care if you were here, but I don't want to know it.
I don't want to know it.
Yeah.
Like a cat burglar, get in and out.
So my friend got robbed. His house got robbed, and the creepiest thing was they found out he ate their ice cream. And like that bothered me for some reason. Like he ate their ice cream and left it out, and then and he used their shower. It's like that's violating, right?
It's
like that's
funny.
That changes everything.
It's very intimate and weird. It's funny you should say that. I didn't use it for news because it didn't pertain to anything. But there was a news story yesterday saying that this dude broke into this house, of course, stole the family's Christmas presents, and stopped to water their lawn. Oh. And when the neighbor said, like, who are you? And she goes, I just assumed he was there doing her yard work. But they can't figure out why he stopped to water their lawn.
I think a lot of this, whether it's shitting in my bathtub or leaving the Coke or eating the ice cream, I think we're dealing with crazed drug addicts here.
Yeah.
And so we should probably stop trying to figure out why.
It's probably true.
Yeah.
All right. You got a
let's get into this here. So Joe Biden, well, actually, Jill Biden, First Lady Jill Biden, was trending because they unveiled the 2021 Christmas decorations. The first lady took over and did it. So they put them up.
She's a doctor. What's she wasting her time with?
I think this is the first lady. Is it not the first lady? I think like Melania had
first
to do it.
responder.
Those
She's a doctor.
Handmaid's Tale red trees.
The blood trees.
Yeah.
But let's look at Jill's decorations. So they posted these, they put them up, and everybody's the general consensus for the trees and the decorations was boring.
Oh, really?
Wait, what's it
Yeah.
called?
Isn't that what the Bidens promised?
Yeah,
That was the whole
they're
promise
like,
of the
where's the color?
comes
It's
with snow.
ugly. I think it's nicer than anything I've ever done, but
That's nice.
I think the decoration of the White House for Christmas is now veered into the realm of throwing out the first pitch.
Yeah.
It's a no-win
There's no way to
proposition
do it, right?
Exactly.
at this point. You want to go Euro stylish as
No.
Milana, you get fucking crucified. You go traditional, you get crucified.
Look, there's even snowflake gobo lights on the ceiling. That's whimsical.
Yeah.
I don't mind this.
yeah,
I know, it's nice.
41 Christmas
Traditional.
trees, 6,000 feet of ribbon, over 10,000 ornaments, but yeah, nobody's impressed.
I heard I don't know, Dawson, Kaylin, you got to look at. There was a very glowing review in the New York Times, I think, about it.
Oh, you don't say.
Glowing is Melania's. Blah.
Well,
Now we got this
nonsense.
Yeah, now everyone's talking about Melania, like how she infamously said, like on that secret recording that fuck decorating
cares,
Christmas or who cares.
She's right.
And then and she had those
she's
blood
like, don't we
trees.
have bigger problems? What do I have to sit here and design a Christmas
Well,
tree?
I don't want to upset you more, but the in the article that was glowing about Dr. Jill Biden, they said she'd been working on it since May.
I don't like
And
that.
I was like,
I don't like
go
that.
down to the border, fucking take care of business.
I don't like it.
Look, in her defense, if I had to decorate something like this, it'd take me all year. Like,
Yeah.
this is extravagant. I mean,
This wouldn't
over
be
100 volunteers.
This wouldn't be your only job.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I like traditional.
It's
so
a
It looks nice.
It is a thankless job, though, Adam. And I was thinking of thankless jobs. We hosted Friendsgiving this year, and I had to cook the turkey because we were hosting it. Mm-hmm. And I don't care for turkey. It's always dry. Nobody.
The man who eats shrimp tails is turning his nose up at turkey.
I am.
It checks out.
I don't care. I don't care if I had to cook 2 of them. Okay, and I'm not going to have somebody else come to my house and cook turkey in my oven. And
Jesus.
You're a man of principle.
Pee on the turkey.
Listen, I love turkey, but I'm sort of with you. If you said to me, would you like a steak versus
Yes.
turkey, I'd go, I guess I'll take the steak.
Right.
I mean, any other day of the year, if you want to measure it that
Sure.
way. If you said pork roast, I'd probably take the pork roast.
same.
There's many beef offerings I love, and turkey'd probably be down somewhere around salmon or something if you're asking me. But
it's so boring any other time of the year. A turkey sandwich, like it just we don't need it. So yeah, I was thinking about that and just like you can't, and it takes so much time in the oven. Like nobody else can heat up their sides because I've been cooking a turkey for all this time.
What's trending in Chris's house?
Sorry, but anyway, speaking of trending though, they're looking at the Biden's Christmas decorations. They said it was ugly, but I'll tell you what is not ugly. Joe Biden's Secret Service agent. So he did an event in Massachusetts, and the Secret Service agent, we don't know his name. He was there, and everybody.
It was a chick.
Hot bitch.
No, it's a dude. And do you know what a thirst trap is, Adam? Because we are looking at a thirst trap. This dude. They're comparing him to Tom Cruise from Top Gun. Like he's just So. I mean, there's a close up picture of him, Kaylin, so you can kind of see because that one's a little pixely. That one's a little bit better, but everyone on TikTok.
I mean, for lack of a better word, a civilian and not a Hollywood celebrity. I get it.
Yeah, come for Joe Biden. You stayed for the Secret Service.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. In a weird way, like, all hockey players or most hockey players are good looking. Like swimmers and stuff, it's a kind of a body you have,
Sure.
or 7/8 of it is, well, you can't be a slob and play hockey.
Right.
You can't be a slob and be a Secret Service. You can't be the mall cop.
Right.
And you can't be, there's a certain age, probably age out of it. You gotta fit in your pants pretty well there. So it strikes me that you're gonna get just like hockey players are just sort of good looking dudes. Like you're gonna get a self-selecting group of generally
handsome.
Yes, I'd say. Did you find that article, by the way?
Yeah, their praise of Joe Biden's decorations were about how normal it looked
See, we're
in comparison to
back.
previous years. And it also confirmed that, yes, her office had been working on them since May.
Oh, my God.
Well, give the article to Dawson just because he'll love reading it. It'll make him laugh. But
You
keep
know,
going.
You know, we talk about like, God, I wish I was a student nowadays where grades don't matter and you don't have to show up. I would love the job as Jill Biden's Christmas decorating helper.
czar.
Yeah, that's their job since May.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. I know.
Buying ornaments, getting holly.
Getting holly. Sounds like a porn. Sounds like a Christmas porn.
Getting holly.
Pegging holly.
Pegging holly.
Well, Dawson, you got it, Dawson?
Yes. Oh, come on.
Popping up on the computer.
It's giving me a pop-up. Give me a second.
All right,
yeah,
while
you
he's
gotta-
pulling it up, another thing that was trending was Purple Rain. And I went to go see why. And author Don Winslow tweeted out, "You can only have 3 film soundtracks."
No.
3. What are your 3? And I'll tell you the top 3. The top 3 that were there. It was Purple Rain, Saturday Night Fever.
Oh boy.
Well, at one time, the best-selling album ever.
And Waiting to Exhale. Those are the 3 top trending albums.
Waiting to Exhale like a lot of Motown or something?
It's R&B.
Yeah, it must be. I mean,
Think.
that's really racist.
I'm
to me.
going-
I think that actually.
I'm pretty
I don't
sure
know.
it is.
I'm going Fantasia,
Fantasia's good.
Taboo 2,
Just the one song.
Still counts.
Taboo 3.
Wow, in that order.
Oh, yeah.
There's one answer and one answer only. The greatest soundtrack of all time is A Hard Day's Night. The Beatles' first all-original album, featured every song featured in the movie, start
Yeah.
to finish. It's timeless.
How about something like Reservoir Dogs or something where you just have
Where it's not kind of a
it's not a
loophole.
soundtrack,
Yeah.
but
Like
you just
a
have all
musical.
these songs
I
from
know.
all these.
I don't like soundtracks are just amalgamations of popular songs. Like, make the songs for the Saturday Night Fever. Make them for the movie.
I'm glad you said that because I was thinking about my favorites and barring any musicals, Harold and Maude, because it's all Cat Stevens.
That's
and at
true.
the time he said, if you
That's a
want to hear
great
these songs,
soundtrack.
it's fantastic. If you want to hear these songs, you have to see the movie. And Magnolia, which is almost exclusively Amy Mann. And those songs are fantastic. And I know it's not the same, but I mean, Oh Brother Where Art, that was a fucking work of art, that soundtrack.
Top 5 selling all time. The Bodyguard, number 1. Saturday Night Fever, then Dirty Dancing, Titanic, and Grease.
Sure.
Brian, are you watching the Beatles documentary?
I'm saving it
started
where I
it.
can watch it start to finish.
Me
It's
too.
7 hours.
Yeah, it's gonna take you a long time.
I know. I'm such a fucking Beatles nerd. I've seen the original several times, and it's rough. It's like rough around the edges. It's not polished at all.
This is Peter Jackson.
Did they do some
Yeah,
color correction and stuff with
Are
it?
you familiar with They Shall Not Grow Old, the World War I documentary?
Yes.
The color. Peter Jackson did that, the director of Lord of the Rings, and now he's doing this treatment to the Beatles' original Let It Be documentary. He's turning into a 7-hour restored.
And he's digitally
Restoring
like
it.
they did with the
Yes,
World War One
yes, yes,
doc.
yes.
Sorry, yeah,
not
footage.
colorizing, but restoring.
What was the name of that one?
Let It Be.
No.
The original.
The,
They
the-
Shall Not Grow Old.
They Shall Not Grow Old.
Really
Well,
good.
that's the World War
Yeah.
One document.
Right. Do you have the article,
Yes.
Dawson?
Jill Biden's White House Christmas looks very normal. You won't find any blood red trees this year. Gone are the blood red trees. Gone are the icy, sparkling boughs and the imagery of a woman isolated in a winter wonderland.
Oh my.
Or a horror story, depending on your point of view.
Quite
I say this to Drew on a daily basis. You went to journalism school for something. Like, weren't you going to go to Honduras and blow the lid off the whole arms for Contras or
Hostages.
something? You're writing fucking hit pieces on.
Wait.
This journalist is holding a grudge here.
Please don't. This is an op-ed, though. Yes, this must be an op-ed.
I don't. I
This
do
is
not
pretty-
know.
It didn't run on.
But keep going. It'll make you laugh.
In their place, red and white striped knit stockings with green heels.
Normal.
Dangling brightly from a hearth, family photos, handwritten thank you notes, and an arch of presents in bright red boxes.
That's nice.
The Biden White House Christmas decor, unveiled on Monday, isn't nearly as stylized or surreal as the Trump-endorsed looks that preceded them. Oh, it's plenty cheerful and sparkly. But in the context of recent White House holiday styles, it's positively accessible.
They could have done anything.
That's true. They could have really slow played it.
In this, it is fully in line with the tactile, unpretentious image that the current first couple likes to project.
I would argue that if you had a degree in sociology or education, but you insisted on being called Dr. Jill Biden, that is the most pretentious of all. If we insist, or you insist your wife be called doctor when she does not have leading people to believe there may be some medical degrees in there. I think that is pretentious, but go ahead.
The president and the first lady, just like us. Their home is your home, only a little more so. It did, after all, require 6,000 feet of ribbon, over 300 candles, more than 10,000 ornaments, and about 78,750 holiday lights to dress the White House for the holidays, according to the Office of the First Lady. That may sound extravagant, but like Jill Biden herself, whose unofficial job it is to oversee the decoration, the effect was rather homey. Social media categorized it as normal. Whether the response was complimentary or pejorative, it nodded to part of her husband's campaign sell, a return to normalcy after the turbulence and extremes of the Trump years.
Brian, Hillary Clinton.
Since his election, it's been an underlying theme, a foundational element of Build Back Better. For the holidays, it's gifts from the heart.
All right.
Wow. I can't wait till we have like a female president. It's up to a guy.
I was just thinking about that.
What would that look like?
Beer cans.
Man caves.
Well,
strippers with Santa hats.
Well, wouldn't it be great if we had like kind of that King Ralph, first husband
the
or
first
something?
Dude.
Yeah.
We could have had him there doing something.
Oh, Klobuchar's husband?
Yeah, like we need you to decorate. Fuck that. Not doing
Game's
that.
on.
Get some silly string.
I'm going to be on the roof with a gun in case the shit goes down.
A big mouth Billy Bass.
Yeah. Well, look, if Kamala gets in there, then she'll have that guy. Yeah. I can't think of her husband's name.
I always forget.
He has you forget about, what's interesting? I've noticed it with a lot of just folks in general. There's a lot of weird names in this country, last names. I mean, that I wasn't.
Emhoff.
Yeah, Emhoff. There's a lot of political appointees whose name I can't pronounce. There's a lot of like school shooters and stuff. Like I'm going, where are all these? What happened to the Williams and the Jones or even the ones that were a little more exotic that you grew up with, but you didn't look at it and go, I don't know how to pronounce.
This is your finest Ernest Lee Bigot segment.
That's right.
I can't pronounce the damn names. How about Williams and Jones?
I have dinner with Adam. He like rifles off his elementary school like classes, like everybody in there, like he knows all their last names. So
they're good old. That was good old normal America back then.
Right.
All right, let's wrap this show, and we'll have to do more of these because we barely ever get to them.
I know. I'm having a good time. Well, thanks. Listen to Water Cooler.
Let me tell you about Edmunds. Thanks to Edmunds for sponsoring this show. There's car shortages out there, and that's increased demand. Edmunds has been taking the stress out of car shopping for over 50 years. Keep track of everything that's happening in the market. Help you shop with confidence. There's a huge opportunity to trade in, sell your vehicle now to maximize your cash for your next purchase because they're offering a lot for the previously owned cars. Get an instant cash offer for your trade-in online at Edmunds. Spend less time stressing at dealerships and get most of the shopping done without leaving your home. So if you're looking for a new ride, you got to go with Edmunds. Right, Dawson?
Car shopping can be stressful. Edmunds is here to help. Visit Edmunds.com to get your free online appraisal today and start searching for vehicles in your area. That's EDMUNDS.com. For cars, there's Edmunds.
All right, we'll take a quick break. Come back with Gina Grand, the news right after this.
Well, we have another Cuomo update, but this time it's not the Cuomo-sexual you're thinking of. It's Chris. He was suspended indefinitely by CNN on Tuesday as the network investigates his conduct related to his brother, as we now know, the disgraced former governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo, who was forced to resign amid his allegations of sexual harassment. CNN released a statement, and this is what it said. The New York Attorney General's office released transcripts and exhibits Monday that shed new light on Chris Cuomo's involvement in his brother's defense. The documents, which we were not privy to before their public release, raised serious questions. When Chris admitted to us he had offered advice to his brother's staff, he broke our rules, and we acknowledge that publicly. But we also appreciate the unique position he was in and understood his need to put his family first and his job second. However, these documents point to a greater level of involvement in his brother's efforts than we previously knew. As a result, we have suspended Chris indefinitely, pending further evaluation. And Chris Cuomo has also admitted that he would reach out to sources to find information about his brother's accusers who hadn't come forward yet.
Well, a couple things. One is the real victim here is Jeffrey Toobin, because all everyone does is that guy was caught beating off on Zoom, and he only got a slap in his non-jacking hand, and now he's back. He was suspended. We're going to do this Toobin thing again, and Jeffrey Toobin must have been. And you have the tape that always makes me laugh, but he's like, I'm going to go down. I'm going to show up. I'm going to sit down with this shrew. I'm going to fucking take it one more time in the ass, and let's never bring this up again.
Yeah.
It'll turn the page. Sorry, this is the most uncomfortable ever exchange.
Let's bring in CNN Chief Legal Analyst Jeffrey Toobin to talk about this and more. Hi, Jeffrey.
Hello, Allison.
It's been a while.
It has been a while, indeed.
I feel like we should address what's happened in the months since we've seen you, since some of our viewers may not know what has happened. So I guess I'll recap. I'll do the honors.
Help yourself.
Okay. In October, you were on a Zoom call with your colleagues from the New Yorker magazine. Everyone took a break for several minutes. During
not
this
necessary.
time, you were caught masturbating on camera. You were subsequently fired from that job after 27 years of working there. And you, since then, have been on leave from CNN. Do I have all that right?
You got it all right. Sad to say.
Wow.
Unnecessary. Who the fuck is this?
By the way, you were doing a Zoom call. You were caught masturbating on camera. No shit.
Yeah. Otherwise,
we didn't have a court sketch artist in my fucking den, bitch.
we didn't jump out for a surprise party.
We did the math on the Zoom call camera part. It's not. I didn't speak about it. I was caught on camera. If this chick has a daughter, I guarantee she's going to have an eating disorder. I guarantee this is an eating disorder mom.
Yeah.
I can smell them coming down the road.
You want to talk about what you did?
Toobin. You want to talk about what happened to my milk duds? Toobin's like, oh, fuck.
And he took it with great, he took it on the chin. He kind of made a joke out of it.
Well, the thing about it is you would assume that, A, it's a colleague. Mm-hmm. And so what they were going to do is, if it needed to be addressed, it would be sugarcoated in such a way where you could just go, you were caught doing inappropriate things, and many people, rightfully so, may have been offended by it, so we took a blah, 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 and then we just get on. Right. She dragged that shit out about as long, that's Allison Camerata. She dragged that on about as far as she could do it.
It was, I get it. We get it.
She has twin daughters?
Oh.
They're both going to have eating disorders.
They add up to one daughter.
Yeah, they pit each other against each other.
Oh, no. The one will be spared when she has gender reassignment surgery at some point. So I say one goes trans and the other goes eating. That's me.
I say they go eating disorder in two different directions.
Oh,
one eats, yep, and in one's like, am I pretty enough for you now, Mom?
Good call.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. So anyway, maybe we'll see Chris again. Maybe we won't.
I don't know. She's an attractive woman, but I'm sure her man carves out a little time to take care of his own business on occasion. God forbid he ever gets caught.
Would you like to talk about what you did? You were on the laptop.
Jesus. I mean, she fucking hates that guy, man.
So Tubin's really the one who's getting it here because everyone's just bringing up Tubin again. It's something
Jeffrey Tubin was trending as well.
he just wanted, let's just put this in our rearview mirror and never have to look back. No, he is. Now, I also think about...
That was mean.
I also think about... I don't know if Chris Cuomo's... I don't know if their mom is still alive, but you want to talk about how the mighty have fallen. Remember the mom? What was the mom looking like a year ago? Yeah. You know what I mean? You got one guy who's saving New York City. He's writing books.
Best-selling book.
He's on every night with the other son. He's crushing the ratings. They're on together. I mean, when it comes to like proud mama, I don't know that you could have two sons in the NFL. Mrs. Barber.
Tiki and Rhonda's mom.
That's right, Gina. Why didn't you jump in?
Sorry,
Matilda Como.
Yeah, I think she's still with us.
You could have two sons in the NFL. That'd be pretty good. But governor of New York and the lead guy at CNN. I don't know if you're going to do much better than that in the mama department. Boy, was that a fucking slap in the face. She's 90.
Yeah,
here you
her
go.
heart can't take this.
Hold on, before you go to your grave. Hold on, I got something for you. There you go.
Helping
two disgraced sons.
There you go. Remember those two guys you never stopped talking about? Yeah.
You had such nachas for?
Oh God, it's got to be for her because you can go individually. You can break up the governor and Chris Cuomo, but the mom gets both.
Yeah.
Wow, and I'm sure leading up into this episode, she was probably beaming and talking about what Mario's doing and Chris is doing. And
who do you think? Which mother was prouder at the height of her son's powers, Mrs. Cuomo or Mrs. Weinstein?
Oh, they're going to throw Mrs. Carolla in there.
Well, we know the answer to that.
I mean, they named the company
that's
after
right.
the parents.
Miramax and the
really?
Yes, and the two brothers in the business, Bob and Harvey.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I never
Winning
knew it.
Best Picture for Prestige Pictures.
Yeah, which mom had more pull at the time of New York?
God, wow.
Yeah,
that's a good.
Something to think about.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's talk about some other proud moms because they have their kids as People Magazine's People of the Year for 2021. Pretty female-leaning, the People of the Year.
Oh, the People of the Year.
People Magazine's People of the Year.
Did they do the 100 most or 50 most or something?
Well, there are three individuals and a group. And I know how you feel about like the group, like the reporter or the whatever. Well, I'll tell you, they have America's Teachers.
Are the People of the Year?
Is one of the People of the Year. Also Simone Biles, because they feel that she shed light on mental health when she tapped out of the Olympics.
But she's not a people. She's a person.
Yeah, but they are not doing person anymore. There's so many People of the Year.
All right.
Sandra Oh. She spoke out against anti-Asian violence and harassment.
Well, no shit. She's Asian.
Yes.
Ooh. Sandra.
And
it takes a lot of courage to speak out against violence against your own. That's a fucking ballsy move right there.
Made her a person of the year.
She took a stand. All right.
And my personal favorite.
Hey, anyone starts talking shit about Italian guys who like racing vintage race cars, guess who's going to be first to the podium? This podcaster right here.
Yeah.
Sandra.
So she's one of them.
She spoke out.
And
did it do anything?
Well, here's the thing, and I know I'm going to sound biased, and let's take the teachers out of the equation, but like Simone Biles, Sandra Oh, it's like, okay, I mean, I see why headlines were made, but
I would argue Simone Biles could have been more effective speaking out against anti-Asian.
Oh, interesting.
I think she probably catch the ear of the people that they're anti-Asianing a little better than Sandra was. But go ahead.
Well, my personal favorite, Dolly Parton, not only for her extensive work in children's literacy, but her massive donation she gave to Moderna, which ended up being, what people call the Dolly shot. And
we have no way of verifying this, Adam. This could all be bullshit.
I know. But go ahead.
Well done.
It's interesting because I don't know if this is going to mean anything to anybody else, but Jada Boomrod is fuck you. He's a host of the show Radio Lab. And it's this interesting connection because I like that show and it's kind of sciencey and interesting.
Jada Boomrod.
Yeah. His father is a doctor, best friends with Dolly, which is how Jad got her to do that Dolly series and who gave her the shot for Moderna. So he works there. So I like those little nerdy connections. But she does not take praise. She's a humble woman from Pigeon Forge. So here's a clip of Dolly attempting, after she deflects and says, I'll get more credit than I deserve. This is her attempting to stay neutral about the vaccine because, you know, her whole thing is about staying out of politics.
At that time, I know that when I got my first shot, I had said, don't be a chicken squat, get on out and get your shot, encouraging people to get it. I thought people were just waiting in line, everybody, to get it once it was out there. But later I realized that there were a lot of people that, you know, that didn't want to take it for whatever their reasons were. So I didn't pursue that, telling people to do this and do that, because I'm not one to tell people what to do. I completely understand every side of everything. I try to stay neutral.
How about the Holocaust?
But I'm happy that I was part of that, and I'm happy that I got vaccinated.
Sorry,
and I just
Gina,
hope and pray that this whole thing will be over and that we'll see a better time coming in the future.
It's a little long. I'm a little long in the tooth for this. I don't think I could pull it off. But I think I will advise my kids to pick up some kooky religion early. Later on, you may have to play it goes against my religious. Maybe you want to get out of the draft. Maybe you don't want to get vaxxed. Maybe there's something at work, you know.
Right, conscientious
Could be
objector.
something you might, at some point, you're going to be forced to produce pronouns or something. Just pick up a light religion. Let's get a picture of you in like a prayer shawl or something, you know, something we can put a time stamp on. At some point when someone goes, I need you to produce some reason why you can't eat
scrambling
this.
for a Bible.
Yeah, maybe we want to get a specialty meal on a flight or something. But let's create a little history like Lori Loughlin did with the kid, you know what I mean?
On the rowboat.
I'll mock up a little ceremonial thing. We'll get a few shots of you up there. Just something when they ask.
Interesting.
You know, I don't know how, like when you go, you know, I work for UPS. Well, you must be vaccinated unless if you'd like to come back to work. And then you go, well, I'm looking for a religious exemption. Like, they can't just go, all right, buddy, see you on the other side. They got to go like,
show me
well,
something.
Well, what do you have?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you feel like you have to produce something, right?
I'm totally with you, but I think that's the Garagos question, but I would imagine you not rejecting vaccines in the past, right? Like a flu vaccine or measles or mumps or something would submarine your case. Like, why all of a sudden are you so into this religious exemption?
It's called born again, bitch.
Yeah.
There you go.
I got born.
That's
Look
right.
at you.
You got dunked in the holy water.
I realized, yeah, man. I went down there with MC Hammer.
Oh.
I'm trying to think of who gets dunked.
Just in the river. Yeah, he's like a minister.
Great scene in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
I think Whitney Houston's, what's his name?
Bobby.
I think Bobby Brown. I think
I
a
wouldn't
few
be
of them
surprised.
made the pilgrimage and took the dunk. That's a good shot, though. Cook that up.
That's real good.
Get out by the swimming pool. Get a
With
guy
white
dressed in
robe.
some religious garb and have him like standing in the background, you know,
Dip ya.
and dunk Sonny in there, get a shot of that.
Yeah, you could do this in the backyard.
Yeah, I could cook this.
This is great. All right. Well, Dr. Oz in the news, he's running for U.S. Senate in Pennsylvania.
Can I say this about Dr. Oz?
Please do.
Is it possible to have too good a jawline? You know what I mean? Like George Clooney's got a great jawline. Dr. Oz has a better jawline, but maybe too good.
Too much. Yeah, I think
too good.
I think Brad Pitt is the exact access point before you go too far.
Yeah,
And I think
because Jay
that's
Leno,
something-
your car buddy, you could argue too much.
That's a lot of jaw.
It's almost too defined.
Yeah.
Like it's
caricatured.
Too perfect.
Yeah.
We are looking at a thirst trap.
Yeah. I mean, he's in phenomenal shape, but he's got the jaw for politics.
He does.
It juts out.
And
because they always take the horrible picture of the guy with the double chin, because when they're doing the ad campaign against it, it's always the guy talking at
From
the
the-
rally.
yeah,
and they got
the camera's coming from
the
up.
guy's down on the
Yeah.
he's down on the floor of the gymnasium. You're up on the stage. You're just doing this thing. You look down. It looks like you fucking triple chin. And Good luck.
Look at that. And you know how you like to say as a former prosecutor, I think we should add in what Dr. Mehmet Oz does. Cardiothoracic surgeon.
Yes.
Who would check that?
Well, I don't know how to define it.
Well, why? Because
true.
everyone wants to sound smart. You know, like they're not going to ask. Cardiothoracic surgeon. That's the line of work he's in. And television
I wonder
personality.
if he's ever been to a dinner with Dr. Jill Biden.
No.
They got a lot of
They
medical
chopped it up.
discuss.
He's not really a doctor. He's on TV. Well, he's going to run as a Republican for the occupied seat of Pat Toomey, who's retiring. And by the way, he now cannot. His show can't air in several places now. And this will make sense when I explain it. Fans of the show won't be able to watch it in New York or Pennsylvania because of where Fox, which distributes his talk show, has pulled it off the air in those places because the FCC's equal time doctrine. So they don't want to give him an unfair advantage. And they also don't want to give an hour of free TV to 14 other candidates. So they're just pulling it in Pennsylvania and parts of New York because you get the Pennsylvania feed.
And enter Chris Cuomo.
That's
enter into the Fox family now, doing his 1 hour daytime. He thought he just did politics.
Can you imagine?
He works out a ton. He could do a whole lifestyle show. You know,
Jada Boomrod.
That could be his first guest. Jada could come on there. Jad.
Jada
Boomrod
Boomrod
could come. Tarara, his daughter, could come on. Tarara Boomrod. Yeah, she could come on as well. They could do a whole fitness and wellness thing.
Wow.
I mean, it's not just about reading the prompter and spitting out the news. You know?
Jada Boomrod.
That's right. He could do that.
Yeah, that's good for him.
Kind of cross the aisle a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, go over to the Fox affiliates.
You have to know someone who knows him.
I do not.
Oh.
Drew must know him.
I don't. Sorry. We're talking about Oz or Chris now. I know. I'm confused.
Either Jada Boomrod. How dare you?
I don't know. I should ask.
Oz.
I should ask Drew. But yeah, Drew probably knows Oz.
Yeah.
All right, let's bring it home, baby girl.
Wait, I'm sorry. Can I please just tell you who the cast is for Facts of Life? Because we know now. This is big news.
The Jimmy TV show?
Sorry, buried the lead. Should have led with this.
Yes.
This is Jada Boomrod. He is playing Tootie. Okay, so we know who it is now. Ann Dowd from Handmaid's Tale. She's Mrs. Garrett. But the rest of the cast, this is for the live in front of a studio audience series. Jimmy Kimmel and,
Norman.
Thank you,
Lear. Right.
Producing. Will star. Blair Warner will be played by Jennifer Aniston.
I was about to say Jennifer Aniston because I know she's a friend.
Yep.
Seen her
these aren't
a few
kids
times.
in this?
No, it's like the different strokes. Gabrielle Union is Tootie. Catherine Hahn is Joe.
Yeah.
And Allison Tolman as Natalie, and you'll know her. She is, if you watch the Fargo series, she's the Frances McDormand
They're
character.
smart. They get Molly Ringwald to play Molly Ringwald.
That'd be awesome.
I mean, she's about the same age as all of them, and she was established, and she was her.
There'd be a
That would be
curiosity
great.
factor for sure.
Yeah.
Just having Molly Ringwald
exactly.
just inexplicably being her character from season one.
Nobody's saying anything.
It's
going to be so good. And you can watch it the next day on Hulu.
I watched a season 1 the other day, and then I watched like a season 4.
Wait. 4, do they have the store yet? The gift shop with George Clooney?
I don't think they'd opened Edna's Edibles.
Yeah, thank you.
No, ask me the middle name of my son. It's a weird thing, which is they'd all really packed on a few LBs from season 1 to like season 3. Like it was if you hop from season 1 to season 3, you'll see some LBs on there. And then somebody said they should open a bakery.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Which seems like it was.
By the way, by the writers.
I'll be one of the writers, and you be spitballing. This is what it should have sounded like for season 4.
All right, boys, season 4 coming up, big hit show, but we got to figure out new plot lines. What are the girls up to this year?
Jesus Christ, They're all growing out of their Catholic school girl.
Right.
Hey, how about they open a bakery?
They're getting a little older, a little more mature.
Edibles. Yeah, why don't they just carb load while we're at it? Oh, by the way, they can eat in between takes.
Do we want
They have to have some
attention?
muffins. A balloon that pitches up even more. Yeah.
Dave, you are no help.
It had to be a joke.
Yeah.
But they went with it.
They did. And by the way, Kaylin, do you have the picture, the promo picture? It's fantastic. So this is kind of like the pencil drawings of the John Lithgow and Kevin Hart and everybody doing the dual.
Yeah,
roles.
it'll be fun, and they'll throw a party, like a viewing party at this party house that I don't even know the nuts and the bolts of it, but I get to go to a party.
Oh, all right. You're gonna have to give.
When's
us
it
the
air?
dates. December 7th.
Oh, okay.
That's
We
like
gotta get
next
going
week.
with that
A
shit.
few days
Yeah.
from now.
Yeah.
All right, now we can bring it home.
I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news. Am I pretty enough for you now, Mom?
Gina.
That was the news with Gina Grad.
Well, then there's Hyundai Tucson. They questioned everything to create the best Tucson and Santa Fe ever. Every inch has been reimagined, completely redesigned, resulting in the best SUVs loaded with innovation inside and out. You learn more at HyundaiUSA.com. All right. Some tickets left for TJ Miller and Brea coming up December 15th. We'll be taping the show for the Daily Wire, so you can come on out and see Truth Yeller there. And you can pick those shows up, watch those shows at dailywire.com/Adam. Also, Chassis, our channel 687 on Pluto TV. It's got all our movies there, so if you want to see a special, Shelby American or Nikki Latta or any of these interesting stories, they're all there. They're all free. Mitch Albom, everybody. The Stranger in the Lifeboat's available now. And until next time, this is Adam from Mitch and Gina and Bald saying mahalo. You could have two sons in the NFL, Mrs. Barber.
Tiki and Rondé's mom.
That's right. Gina, why didn't you jump in?
Sorry.
Matilda Coma.
Yeah, I think she's still with us.
You could have two sons in the NFL. That'd be pretty good. But Governor of New York and the lead guy at CNN, I don't know if you're going to do much better than that in the mama department. Boy, was that a fucking slap in the face.